El Dorado. Everyone's heard of this supposed lost city of gold. Even today, there are people that believe it really is somewhere out there in the rainforest. But while the fabled city of gold is almost certainly made up, could there be any truth to it? After all, it's not unusual for myths and legends to have some basis in reality. Originally, El Dorado wasn't even a city, and the myth went by a different name. It started out as El Hombre Dorado, which translates to the Golden Man. The story went that there was a group of people in South America whose leader would be painted in gold, and they would wash the gold off in a lake while other people poured vast amounts of gold objects into the water. This was actually a real tradition practiced by the Muisca people from modern-day Colombia. The ceremony was performed at the coronation of a new Zipa, one of the leaders in Muisca culture. And as stated in the myth, golden objects were given up to the nearby lake Guaravita. The new Zipa would be coated in gold dust, and they would take a special raft out to the centre of the lake before washing it off, all as a sacrifice. The rumour of this gold-filled ritual was of great interest to the Spanish conquistadors. It seemed logical to them that if the Muisca people could afford to be dumping so much gold into the lake, they obviously had a lot of it. As it turns out, although they were by no means short for gold, the reality was that gold held more of a religious significance for the Muisca, rather than any economic value. They actually imported almost all of their gold from neighbouring areas, because the area they lived in wasn't actually that rich in gold. But that didn't stop the Spanish from conquering, pillaging, and brutally oppressing the Muisca in their quest for riches. But for the conquistadors, it wasn't enough gold. They began suspecting that there had to be some place with even more gold. So it became the search for El Dorado, literally just the gold. Over time, the legend morphed into the infamous lost city of gold that we all know and love today. The promise of untold riches led to countless expeditions in the Amazon basin over the rest of the 1500s. And it wasn't just the Spanish. England's Sir Walter Raleigh became obsessed with claiming El Dorado for the English. In 1595, he led an expedition up the Orinoco River after hearing the rumours and accounts of the elusive city. Raleigh theorised that it was located on the banks of the, also made up, Lake Parime. Needless to say, that expedition didn't exactly end in success. At this point, El Dorado was just a large-scale example of wishful thinking. A lost city of gold in the Amazon was never real. Before long, it seemed impossible for there to be any cities in the Amazon at all. One of the most famous accounts of these cities in the Amazon was from Francisco Orellana. His expedition was chronicled by Gaspar de Carvajal, and in his account he saw thriving cities with large populations and impressive infrastructure all along the banks of the Amazon. But when the Amazon River was mapped in the 1700s by Charles Marie de la Condamine, no such cities were found, and so the scientific consensus was that cities couldn't have existed in the Amazon, and that Orellana's accounts must have been exaggerated or made up. This view was later reinforced by Alexander von Humboldt after his explorations of South America. A common argument against the existence of cities in the Amazon was agriculture. The soil in the Amazon basin is, ironically, very poor quality for farming. There's such a rapid rate of decay that any nutrients get reabsorbed back into the ecosystem before they can enrich the soil. And combined with that, it's actually the root systems that hold the soil together. So when too many trees are felled, the topsoil gets washed away by heavy rainfall. So if the soil is poor, you can't farm, and without farming you can't support the population of a city. This dogma remained virtually unchallenged until the 1900s, when Lieutenant Colonel Percy Fawcett developed a theory that there could exist a lost city in the Amazon, which he called Z. One of the pieces of evidence that supported Fawcett's claim was manuscript 512, a transcription of a lost work found in the National Library of Rio de Janeiro. The document records a supposed discovery of a lost city in the Amazon. However, the original author is unknown. Despite Fawcett's best efforts, the scientific community of the time rejected his theories. However, several discoveries have been made that support the possibility of cities in the Amazon, adding credibility to both Orellana's accounts and Fawcett's theories. As huge sections of the rainforest have been cleared, we've discovered hundreds of huge earthworks, geoglyphs and henges that provide undeniable evidence of human activity on a massive scale. And these finds have prompted multiple LiDAR surveys. LiDAR, or light detection and ranging, allows us to map the ground beneath the canopy without felling trees or damaging the ecosystem. And what these surveys have found is loads of different sites with large man-made mounds, impressive structures, canal systems and roads, remnants of cities, and undeniable proof of human presence in the Amazon on an enormous scale. And as for the problem of agriculture, an answer has been found. Scientists discovered a highly fertile man-made soil known as terra preta. It crops up in a lot of places in the Amazon, but especially along the banks of the Amazon River. The areas that, according to Orellana, had populated cities. It was this soil that once allowed the Amazon to support cities with populations in the millions. So what happened? Why did later explorers like Condamine find the jungle empty? The leading theory is that when the Spanish made initial contact, they spread diseases like smallpox, which the people of the Amazon had no immunity to, proving deadly to the populations, similar to what happened to other cultures elsewhere in the Americas. Within a few decades, the enormous cities had been reclaimed by the rainforest, leaving barely a trace of what was once there. So while a lost city of gold was never really a reality, the truth behind the myth is just as incredible.